Hello, and thank you for joining us this Monday on New CENTER Maine at 4. I'm Bailey Cornick.
I'm Christian Bridges.
And I'm Amanda Hill. Brian and Ryan are off today. Before we get to anything else, we do want to let you know that police are looking for a missing teenager from the town of Limerick. Xander Peer has been missing since 4 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday. He has not been replying to friends and family. He was last seen near the Secocas Lake boat launch in Limerick.
Xander Peer is 17 years old. He's about 5'5", or 5'6" rather. He currently has half green and half red hair. He was last seen wearing a black t-shirt, red shorts, and a black backpack. He has a blue Huffy bicycle with him. If you know anything about Xander's whereabouts, you're asked to reach out to the Maine State Police's Southern Field Troop at 207-624-7076.
All right, also coming up today, police are investigating a deadly assault in Guilford. They say there is no threat to the public, but we'll share what we know.
And Democrats from the U.S. House of Representatives hold a field hearing over an ICE agent shooting and killing a man in Biddeford last month. We'll hear from people who testified. Also ahead today, the first fire department in Maine to swap out their turnout gear for PFAS-free equipment.
And the 60-day deadline for a peace deal has now come and gone. An update on the mixed messages about the negotiations to end the war in Iran.
We will get to all of that, and of course, Christian's forecast is just a minute away. First, though, a big celebration for some little dogs. This weekend it was the 5th annual Corgi race in the Lithuanian capital city of Vilnius. Organizers said this was their biggest yet, with competitors from across Europe, Great Britain, and the United States. 150 corgis competed in the races, a costume parade, an event called the Smartest Nose, and the Loudest Bark. That's up from just 40 corgis at the first event. 94 dogs took part in the main race, which was eventually won by an American corgi named Gigi, which is short for Gustav the Girl Dog.
Okay.
That's a great name.
That's a great
We love
name.
to see,
Gustav the Girl Dog.
women winning.
That's right, we do.
Love it.
We do. We support that.
You guys won over the anchor desk today.
Yes. Yeah.
True.
Well,
It's
is it a win for you or?
Yeah, it's a win. It's always a win.
I'd say it's
Don't be
a win for me
ridiculous.
to be working with you guys, as always.
There we go. All right. You know, we were just saying we don't mind a little rain on
Neither
a
do I.
Monday.
No, it's kind of nice. It's like a good excuse to just not do anything.
Exactly.
You don't feel like,
Absolutely.
oh, it's so beautiful, I have to get outside after work.
Yeah,
No.
I feel like the weather today is like kind of cozy in a way.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I kind of want like some chili or like a cup of soup or something.
Yeah.
Kind of is almost that vibe out there. Well, it is still very cloudy, very drizzly out there this afternoon, but we didn't really get a lot of substantial rain, and that's kind of the theme of the next several days. Some rain chances, but nothing really substantial. In fact, there may be many of us who go through the next several days and barely get a drop. I know that's not the most amazing news for those of us who really could use it, but at least the weather won't be too bad if you're going to be outside. Let's start things off with a look in Augusta. We are in the upper 60s. It is overcast. Doesn't look much different anywhere else in the state. However, in western Maine, there are now a couple breaks in the clouds, potentially a little sun trying to peek out late this afternoon and into the evening. Also still tracking a few showers in Washington County and down East Maine. A couple showers to the north as well in the mountains and in northern Maine. Largely, though, not super wet out there. You might run into a sprinkle or two, but largely it is pretty quiet. Temperatures have struggled to get past 70 today. We are 70 in Portland, 69 in Bangor, 60s to the north as well, and in down East Maine. One big exception, notice Freiburg, near 80 right now as the sun has come out there. We've managed to squeeze it in late this afternoon. And all of us, or especially in southern and western Maine, could maybe see a peak of sun before the sun sets this evening. Otherwise, we remain pretty cloudy into the overnight, and I would expect some dense fog to develop late in the night with the high levels of moisture that we have in place. So as we get into tonight and into tomorrow, we'll continue to see a lot of clouds, potentially a shower or two, but the forecast on Tuesday does look better, especially if you're hoping for some warmer temperatures. Looks like we'll clear things up a bit in the afternoon and turn nice and warm. Breaking down everything you need to know about the rest of this week's forecast coming up, Bailey and Amanda, back over to you.
Christian, thank you. We'll see you in a bit. Maine State Police are investigating a deadly assault in the town of Guilford.
One man is dead and a woman is hospitalized in critical condition. Police were called to a home on Pine Street in Guilford last night and found the two victims inside. The Piscataquis County Sheriff's Office arrested 49-year-old Ryan Carlton, who lives in Guilford. They're holding him on an assault charge now, but expect to elevate the charges after an arraignment tomorrow. Police believe this is an isolated incident and say there's likely no threat to the public. Four Democratic members of Congress held a field hearing today in Biddeford about the ICE killing of Johann Sebastian Duran Guerrero.
Among others, they heard from Biddeford's mayor, Governor Janet Mills, and Guerrero's parents. Christian Harsa was there to hear their testimonies. He joins us live now with more on this. Hi, Christian.
Hi, Amanda. I'm currently in Mechanics Park, where you can see behind me there are still memorials in place for Johann Sebastian Duran Guerrero, who was shot and killed in Biddeford over a month ago now. And during today's hearing, it was very much a moment of catharsis for members of Maine's community. They, yes, were frustrated both on the witness stand and in the audience, but there was also appreciation being shown for the fact that they were able to talk directly to Congress, which funds ICE. On that stage, we had the ranking Democrat of the Homeland Security Committee. That was Mississippi Representative Benny Thompson, who was joined by Representative Shelley Pingree, as well as Massachusetts' Catherine Clark and Louisiana's Troy Carter. Statements from lawmakers and witness testimony raised questions about ICE's tactics and revealed little, if any, evidence there was a federal investigation into Guerrero's death. Guerrero's parents, having flown from Colombia, testified, and so did their lawyer, Ben Gideon, clearly furious, and Governor Mills, who is calling for Congress to change ICE.
Before more gunshots shatter another windshield and steal another person's life and fracture the freedom of all who seek peace, this has to end.
It would be one thing if this was just a single, unintentional, random act of violence committed by a single rogue agent. But this wasn't unintentional. It wasn't random. And responsibility for it is not limited to a single agent.
Now, Democrats do not have power in Congress, meaning that without Republican support, there won't be an actual congressional hearing for this, what happened here in Biddeford. Now, I did reach out to the ranking chair of the Homeland Security Committee, and I have not heard back. Amanda and Bailey.
All right, Christian Harsa live for us in Biddeford. Thank you, Christian. A man from Bridgeton who was held in ICE detention for nearly 7 months is now back home.
Marcos Gasparda Silva has now been granted lawful permanent resident status. That's according to the group Lake Region Indivisible. Welcomed home last night in the Portland International Jetport by members of his community holding signs and showing their support. According to Lake Region Indivisible, Gasparda Silva was released from immigration detention in Arizona on Wednesday. He was first detained in Portland on his way to work back in January. He had a pending asylum case after fleeing Brazil, where he practiced law, and said he was targeted by drug cartels. His wife Alex says he had been working and paying taxes in the U.S. and had never been charged with a crime. Lake Region Indivisible alleges he faced inhumane conditions, including undrinkable water while detained. Gasparda Silva says he is still processing everything.
I'm physically looks like good, but about my mind, I'm not good. I cannot eat stuff I like it. I'm from Brazil. We like rice, beans, and meat. I cannot eat right now. I understand that that's a process, but the point is a lot of people help me, still help me. Thanks so much for everybody. But I was waiting for get excited, like happy, but I'm not happy.
Gasparda Silva was transferred across 3 states in the 7 months he was held. We have reached out to ICE for comment on his case and conditions he was held in. We have not yet heard back. Lincoln's town office was closed today following a cyber attack that disrupted the town's computer network.
Local leaders say the incident was discovered Saturday after the town's IT provider notified officials. The town has not said whether personal information was accessed or whether hackers demanded a ransom. The affected systems have been taken offline as IT professionals investigate the attack and work to safely restore the network. Town officials declined to comment further on the attacks today, but residents say they're concerned about the impact on the community.
Never had a cyber attack before, at least not when I was on the council. My last year on the council, I did bring up the fact that they were underprepared for any cybersecurity incidences.
What I am happy about is that they gave the information that it just happened, whereas usually you don't find out about it for months later.
Town officials say they will provide more information as details are confirmed. There's no word yet on when the town office will reopen. The City of Portland and the Northern New England Passenger Rail Authority, which operates the Amtrak Downeaster, don't agree on where Portland's new train station should go.
The Rail Authority's Executive Director, Patricia Quinn, says they want to build the station along St. John Street, across from Northern Light Mercy Hospital. Portland Mayor Mark Dion says city leaders want it farther down St. John Street at Union Station Plaza. Dion says the city had hoped its potential funding for the project would give it some leverage over the location. But last week, nearly $50 million in federal funding was approved for the new station, potentially reducing the need for city money. Both Dion and Quinn say their preferred locations have advantages.
It intersects at Congress and St. John. There's already established routes for the Metro bus system there. It'd be much more accessible to pedestrians.
It's in walking distance to over 9,500 jobs from the station. So it works for train operations, it works for mobility, it works for bike-ped connectivity.
Now, based on our conversations with Quinn and Dion, it appears the Rail Authority can move forward with its preferred location along St. John Street, even without the city's support. Quinn says the goal is to have the new station finished in 2031.